Welcome back. You're watching NewsX and I'm Shivani Singh. In an unfortunate incident, a Tejas fighter jet has crashed during a flying demonstration at the Dubai Air Show. The tragedy occurred at 2:10 p.m. local time at the Al Maktoum International Airport as crowds looked on. The Indian Air Force has confirmed the incident, revealing that the pilot sustained fatal injuries in the accident. The Indian Air Force has also emphasized that it stands firmly with the bereaved family in this time of grief. It has also constituted a court of inquiry and to ascertain the cause of the accident. The jet itself is a single-seat light combat aircraft developed by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. What's interesting is that the incident marks the second crash involving a Tejas aircraft in less than 2 years. In March 2024, a Tejas fighter went down in Rajasthan's Jaisalmer. However, the pilot ejected safely in that case. Now, the Tejas is a 4.5 generation multi-role combat aircraft built to perform air defense missions, offensive air support and close combat missions. It is noted for being one of the lightest and smallest fighters in its class. A key feature of the jet is its Martin Baker 00 ejection seat. Now, this has been designed to allow pilots to actually eject safely even at zero altitude and at zero speed, such as during takeoffs, landings or low-level maneuvers. The system uses an explosive charge to blow off the canopy, thrust the pilot clear of the aircraft and deploy parachutes to stabilize the descent. All this brings us to the question as to what exactly caused this horrific crash. Joining me on the broadcast are Major General G.G. Dwivedi, Global and Strategic Defence Expert, Wing Commander Satyendra Duggal, former Indian Air Force officer, Major Muhammad Ali Shah, Defence Expert. I thank you all for joining us on this discussion. However, this is a very unfortunate incident that we are discussing. If I go across to Wing Commander Satyendra Duggal, sir, how do you preliminary look at this crash, your initial assessment of this crash that actually took place at the air show?
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that this air crash has taken place, and more unfortunate is the probably sad demise of the pilot there. And particularly it is sad as well because it has taken place during an air show and also on a foreign soil. Also coupled with a few facts that it has been produced by our Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, except of course the engine, which has come from outside. And as you rightly said, it is built as a light combat aircraft, and it has been built particularly or manufactured or put together particularly keeping in view the requirements of the Indian Air Force and about the local environment and about the requirements of the cross-border requirements. All those things have been put together. Okay, nevertheless, this thing has happened, but of course the Air Force will look forward and try and find out, plug the issues which has caused it. Of course, it may not be pertinent for me to say here that it's because of the pilot's negligence. Absolutely not. But some initial reports say, as you said, I must express my initial observations that he failed to recover the negative G turn. And there were initial reports about the oil leaks and all that, but I don't think that's correct. So this is what it is, and the exact facts will come out, and we should not, judge anything right now, and everything will come out during the court of inquiry, during the cross-examination of the people who have seen it, cross-examination of the material available on the ground, and things like that. And as you said, it's little more than a year that the second air crash has taken place, and I'm sure everything is a learning phase. But losing a trained person creates a lot of this thing, and particularly, it's an air show, and we are looking for exporting the equipment and the parts of it, And it's not only an air show, it is also putting on show the technical capabilities of the indigenized technical capabilities that we have produced or we are producing in HAL, of course, with the help of the DRDO and the other research agencies. They are all combined together and they put together a great effort. Of course, these things do happen, and even if it was a right now we are targeting or we are pinning that on HAL, but it could have happened with even the best manufacturers of the aircraft around the world. Not to say that the HAL is not the best manufacturer, but it could have happened. But the exact facts will come out of during this thing, and uh, you know this is what I can say initially.
Right.
Not correct to further
Right.
elaborate on it and suspect anything.
Right. And so, like you mentioned, this is at a very big air show that is going on. So, Major General G.G. Dwivedi, if I come across to you with this question, what do you think, how significant is this, incident or accident in the context of India actually showcasing its capabilities, it's showcasing its indigenized aircraft, it's showcasing its capabilities, and how do you see this? How significant is this crash that has come to the fore now?
Well, Shivani, first and foremost, it's very tragic that we have lost a ace pilot because, after all, the pilots who take part in such air shows are best of the best. And as per the Air Force report, that it had been a fatal accident. So therefore, I think I express a very heartfelt, condolences to the bereaved family, and also we share the moment of grief as a force or as people in uniform. No, it's definitely when you are participating in air show, which is a global air show, it's a stage where every country is showcasing its capability. Well, when you have an incident like this, no gainsaying that it's a definite setback, because after all, you are showcasing your product in the global arena, and the very many other players are there, and more so the Tejas was competing against top of the line global aircraft, and it was having a good response as well, because some of the countries had expressed to buy the Tejas, but unfortunately this instance would definitely set it back. But there are three, four things which I like to clarify. Firstly, accidents like this do happen. They are very unfortunate, but they can happen to the best of the aircraft, even aircraft of the capability of F-35. Even such top of the line aircraft have had such accident. The second point is that while the frame is ours, the other aeronautics are ours, but the engine is the American engine. This is GF404 engine, which is fitted on the Mark 1 and even on Mark 1A. Well, this engine is also very certified, and it is mechanically, I think, at the top of the line engine. Even the American aircraft had been, early aircraft have been powered by this. So therefore, as far the engine is concerned, I think it's very reliable engine. A pilot, of course, they are the best of the best, so it's very difficult at this stage to figure out what exactly was the reason. Was it a engine failure or was it a pilot error? Very difficult to figure out. But as you rightly asked the question, well, I think let's be candid that this would definitely have a setback on our, repo of our aircraft, and we'll have to prove it over the next future time that this was just an aberration, and the aircraft and the machinery is top of the line, and we are flying in fact two squadrons of Tejas Mark 1, and to that extent I think it is just an aberration, just an unfortunate, but then it had to happen, and it has not happened for good, because it takes a repo, and also when you are on a global air show, it is definitely setback, but I am sure HAL, our aeronautical industry, will overcome it in the time to come. Shivani.
Right. Wing Commander Satyendra Duggal, if I come back to you, when we are talking about Tejas, over the past many years, it's had a very good safety record. However, the past 2 years in 2024, we saw one crash, and today we are seeing this unfortunate crash. When we look at such type of crashes, what are the things that investigators actually, closely look at? The aspects of the Tejas design. What are the, investigators closely going to examine? The flight control or the engine performance? What are they going to look at?
First, you must understand that the background of the development of this aircraft. No, it has taken pretty long for the HAL, and I'm not talking in a criticism tone. I'm talking in a tone that it takes a lot of time to develop the indigenous machinery. So HAL has taken a lot of time to develop this, put together things, and ultimately the engine had to be brought from elsewhere outside. And whenever a crash like this happens, there are various angles which need to be investigated, and we cannot, immediately jump into the conclusion whether it is the machinery or the mechanical or the pilot or the environment. But yes, there are categories which need to be, put together. For example, the investigation definitely will be about the type of machinery or any mechanical failure or any drawbacks or anything about the speed, about the maneuverability and things like that, electronics and other things. Second, of course, will be the environment in which it was working or it was flying. Uh, uh, and the environment of abroad and who were maintaining it and who are the part of it, whether any foreign elements were there or any people who other than the Indian Air Force were part of the maintenance team. And third is the environment of that. What was the climate there? How was it? How was it being maintained? How was the climate in which it was being operated? So there are just about 3 or 4 things that I have just highlighted, but there is a huge list of SOP which will come into the picture once the investigation start. I'm sure that must have already started. They must have already started putting together things and first of all trying to find out the history of this aircraft right from the assembly line. And they must have already started freezing all the information about it and safeguarding it so that it can be shared with the investigators. And I'm sure the investigation will not only involve the Indian Air Force, the combat people, it will also involve the people who are part of the manufacturing team, people who are part of the putting together manufacturing team, mechanical team, and the research team. And with the invent of this AI, I'm sure the process of investigation will hasten. Yeah, this AI which has come in has become very important tool of finding out the faults and finding out and how to plug those faults, and that has really helped us. And there are not only about the AI which is put together in foreign soil, but the AI which is also put together by our own manufacturers. For example, the Hindustan Aeronautics, our DRDO, other research organizations which are there. While now they are developing the engines and they are developing the softwares, they are also developing the AI to support this, investigate it, and also give the feedback. So it is preliminary stage, but I'm sure the things must have already started getting in place, and people in right places must have taken note of it, and it will be taken very seriously. I must tell you, whenever we lose an aircraft, whenever we lose the human resource, it's a huge setback. But we need to immediately get over it, because that is also a process of the fighting force. That how do you immediately get over the lost equipment or the lost manpower? We cannot brood over it. We cannot live with that, and we need to walk forward, and we need to jump forward.
Absolutely, absolutely, sir. I think if I bring in also Brigadier Rajan Jamwal, who is a defense expert, who is also joining us on this broadcast. I thank you, sir. Appreciate your time. We are discussing here the initial assessment of this horrific crash, sir, that's coming out from Dubai. We saw that aircraft actually nose diving during a low-level maneuver.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. Like it's been previously said, I mean, everybody mourns the loss of the pilot and the aircraft. However, I don't think so it will have any long-term effect, in the sense that This is, matlab, I think only the second crash. The first was about more than 2 decades back when it was just under trials or something. So it is the first, the crash of the aircraft, and anything could have gone wrong, which only a inquiry would be able to tell. But to the credit of the Tejas, I mean, the first of the crash, I mean, in 2 decades almost, this thing. Though this is the version which has crashed, it's an old version. Anything could have happened, I mean, right from since these are fly-by-air, they are fly-by-air by wire aircraft, mostly relying on AI and all, a lot of controls and all. So it could be a software glitch, it could be a hardware problem, something. I mean, too early to say what exactly went wrong. And I'm sure a court of inquiry, which already been ordered, would bring out all the facts, and it will be all encompassing. I mean, they will take all, right from the developers to the users to the aeronautical engineers, everybody would be part of the inquiry, and they'll get to the bottom of it. But a sad day for the nation.
Absolutely. Major General G.D. Dwivedi, if I can rope you back into this discussion, we were just talking about how important it is for India and to showcase its capabilities. Do you think India now should accelerate or upgrade, or there should be engine modernization for the Tejas so that they can reassure the global market?
Our development of the aircraft and our aeronautical industry has been slow, because I remember that when we were young, that time India ventured upon, manufacturing HF-24 fighter. But after 3 decades, it didn't see the light of the day. Really speaking, it didn't make it to the world-class fighters. And even as far as Tejas is concerned, this has been a work in progress for the last over 3 decades. And the first aircraft only flew in 2001. And the HAL has a number of glitches and problems. And unfortunately, our pace of manufacturing integration has been slow. I think this is one area which requires to be addressed, and it is being addressed because now a number of private players have been zooped in for the AMCA development, like we have the Larsen and Tubro, Tatas, and others are coming in. So therefore, the world over, the aircraft or aeronautical industry is very high technology, and it has a very close cooperation between the civic industry or the between the civil manufacturing. Like if you take America, it is Lockheed Martin is there, the Boeing is there, the General Electronics are there. So our private players have to be brought in. Only then we will be able to accelerate the pace of progress and pace of manufacturing. And the second is the technology, because technology absorption also is very important. Like right now we are negotiating with FGF 414 engine, where we are getting about 80% technology from America. Or for the matter of Saffron, they are offering 100% technology. So the point I'm trying to make is that aircraft manufacturing is very, very technical process. It requires number of collaborating number of players, that from metallurgy to aeronautical to frame to engine power, and then avionics. All that goes into all that goes into it. So therefore, I think we need to synergize firstly. There can't be any more monopoly of HAL. It has to be integration with the industry, which is very important. And I think some of the lessons have been learned, but we need to actually take it on a fast forward, accelerated mode. Please remember, we are already down to 29 squadron, whereas our minimum requires 42. And currently, if you give the current threat perception, possibly our requirement would be about 60 squadrons. So we are way behind, and it's very important. And I am happy that on your channel we are discussing the urgency. We are also discussing where the gaps and voids. But point is that India need to accelerate, and we need to synergize with the industry, with the academia, with the research, because today air power is the cutting edge, and any nation which want to dominate the air warfare, it has to have top of the line air power and domination airspace. So I think, well, this setback, I am sure, we'll get over very fast, but we got to integrate the largest systematic issues, that is the integration of all our potential industry, and the users, and also the research and academia. Shivani.
Absolutely. In fact, if I can go across to Major Muhammad Ali Shah, who's also with us on this show. So, I want to understand, do you think that this will raise concerns regarding the operational readiness of the Tejas aircraft? I mean, we are talking about a one-off incident here, but this has happened at a global level. This has happened at a air show where a lot of training goes in, where this all the maneuvers that are happening, highly trained pilots actually take on such maneuvers, and this has happened at a global level. So do you think this will raise concerns regarding Tejas? Sir, if you can hear us. Major Muhammad Ali Shah, if you can hear us, this question is for you. We want to understand if this will raise concerns regarding Tejas's operational readiness, given that this was at a global stage that this entire incident actually occurred, and they were highly trained pilots.
See, of course, there is no question about it that, firstly, it's a very, very sad incident that's happened. And imagine the plight, the family, the excitement of the pilot's family when they were going abroad to Dubai to fly on the Dubai air show. It's a very, very prestigious assignment. And that good news converted into bad news, into a disaster. So most certainly, they were very, very highly trained pilots, in fact. And when the video surfaced, I couldn't see the pilot ejecting or any parachute or anything. I couldn't see that. So in my heart of hearts, I was fearing. I hope the pilot is safe. But the best of aircraft also can crash. There have been F-16s which have crashed. In fact, they have been the best of aircraft which have crashed. So now the inquiry is going to reveal out details. The inquiry will, there is going to be a board of inquiry, and the thing will surface in inquiry. What exactly could have gone wrong? What exactly could have happened? So it is a matter of grave concern. Here, yes, in 2015, since Tejas has been in operation, they had replaced, in fact, MiG-21 Bison aircraft, the vintage aircraft, which is retired. So most certainly, there are going to be a lot of questions that are going to be asked. And on a very, very big air show like the Dubai air show, this has happened. There were women, children, civilians. There were thousands of people watching. And this aircraft happened that time at a demonstration flight. So most certainly, they are going to be questioned. And it's what happened. I'll give you a small example. When the Air India air crash took place a couple of months back, people had stopped flying by air for some time. They were fearing it. People had stopped booking flights by Air India. Slowly and gradually, they got over that fear. They're getting over that fear, in fact, I would say that. Similarly, the name of Tejas, when we are indigenous, we are getting into Indianization, our defense minister has said we want India to not only just make for the India, but make for the world. We are sending defense equipment to other countries, other nations like Philippines and other nations. So most certainly, this is something which is, the name of Tejas is going to take slightly a back seat, but I hope that doesn't last long. I hope we continue manufacturing our defense equipment. I hope we continue sending our equipment for exports, and the Hindustan Nautical Limited, the HUL, they are doing a great job, in fact. So by one incident, we cannot say that, okay, because I know the second incident of Tejas, which happened just shortly about a year back or so, and by the incident, we cannot say, but then at the same time, there are other Tejas also which are flying safely. And more people die in road accidents, by road, by rail, than in an air crash. But the expenditure on an aircraft is much, much more. The publicity given to it is much, much more. That's why people have this mental block of, okay, flying by air. Like, for example, I have a flight to catch in some time, and I would be going to Mau. But then at the same time, people are asking, oh, is it safe now to fly? It is absolutely safe to fly. Through your channel, I would like to convey to our viewers, it's absolutely safe to fly. An incident, an accident can happen anywhere. The best of aircrafts can meet an accident. The best of cars can meet an accident. So we cannot say that, oh, this has happened to Tejas aircraft, but we have to count the other. One bomb blast happens. Yes, it is a matter of concern, but we also have to see how the intelligence agencies foil the other 100 bomb blasts, which did not happen. Similarly, so it is a matter of distress for us that we have lost our braveheart pilot. In fact, so yes, let's hope
Right,
that.
right. Absolutely.
This
If I can rope in Brigadier Jambal again. So I want to understand what is next after this incident, because we were actually portraying or projecting our Tejas, indigenous Tejas over there, looking at exports to maybe the Philippines, Argentina. How are we going to recover from this? Because obviously it's a one-off event, it does not tarnish the entire image of the Tejas, but going forward, what is the plan of action?
You see, I mean, like I said earlier, out of the 2 squadrons we are operating of Tejas Mark 1, I mean, the one which crashed today is a Mark 1. This thing, and it was the second aircraft which had crashed. One had crashed last year over Jaisalmer, I think. The pilot had ejected safely. Unfortunately, this time the pilot could not eject safely, or maybe that he deliberately took the aircraft away from the spectator stands and ensured that there are no collateral casualties. Anyway, all that will come out in the court of inquiry. Now we are already on the way to make Mark 2, which will be in production. Operational clearance has already been given, and the orders have already been placed on HAL for production of LCA Mark 2. The one that crashed has been Mark 1. Now, I do not think it will have much impact. Like it has been said before, accidents can take place anywhere, and even the best of the aircraft, the best of the vehicles, the best of equipment, even the rockets have failed. I mean, there have been casualties, but it did not stop. It did not stop. Even rockets have exploded while being launched. But the show continues. So similarly, the show will continue here. I do not think on Mark II version there would be the production of Mark II version will not be affected. In fact, we should accelerate it now and bring more on HAL and all for quality control as well as timely deliveries, because these are the 2 concerns the forces have always had with the public sector: the quality control and timely deliveries. And I think they need to keep up. In a lot of ways, government is trying to address this issue, including by involving the private sector in a bigger way. The private sector in a bigger way, especially in manufacturing of sub-assemblies or some other parts. I'm sure all this would be going to the government's head, and very soon we will see a concrete plan emerging how LCA Mark II, which can be inducted. Yes, because LCA basically intended to replace the MiG fleet. Now, MiG fleet has also been, it has already been phased out of service.
True.
However, our LCAs are not yet ready. So we are lagging behind. This gap has to be filled, and sooner the better.
Right,
because
that's the need of the hour, sir. I think acceleration in modernization of our aircraft, even if we follow an indigenous process. Unfortunately, I'm running out of time. I want to thank all my guests: Major General G.G. Dwivedi, Wing Commander Satinder Duggal, Major Muhammad Ali Shah, and Brigadier Rajan Jambal for joining us and participating in this discussion. With that, we have come to the end of this bulletin. We'll see you after this short break.